Hello and welcome to the live stream. I'm your host JT, and you're watching Black Box Trading. We just got the weekly close, and we're going to update you guys on what's going on. What's going on with the altcoins? What's going on with Bitcoin? We're probably going to talk a lot more about Bitcoin because we did have that shakeout move. We've got to catch you guys up on the market with that. And joining me once again is the always great Matthew McGregor from the Daily High. How's it going?
Good, mate. Bloody good. Happy Monday morning for us over here in Asia and Sunday night for you. Let's crack on.
All right, let's take a look here. Do you want to start us off and tell us what you're thinking for Bitcoin?
Sure, let's do that. All right, so we'll start on the weekly time frame. This is one of those funny dud candles that is, that doesn't really look like that. I hate when the index chart does this, but it'll work itself out later in the week. We had a bit of a poor week, you could say, last week, but I don't see it as being that poor, considering we came back down and touched on the 7 simple moving average on the weekly, which we're always want to do. That's what the price always does. It always comes back and retests. The fact is, we still closed above the 7 simple moving average, which is very good for me. That little bounce that we had throughout the last 12 hours of that weekly candle gave us a good boost off that 7 simple. So I'm okay for now. We'll see what happens. This is one of those candles that can get bad really quickly, but as it stands right now, it's no big deal. The thing that I've been talking about the most, for weeks and weeks on end is the divergence on the RSI. And if you recall, this before we had a sharp rejection, this actually came up and touched exactly on that line. I should have screenshotted it. It was on that line to the spot and got rejected. So this is still very, very, very much in play as it stands right now. I don't mind the rejection on the first attempt, and then hopefully we can round off and break it, even if it takes a few weeks, months, whatever. But it's still very, very much in play. That's a topping formation on that bearish divergence that we have here. Some of the, like the MACD and everything, is starting to roll over, but it's not trying to to call it top now. You'll see a lot of people calling tops on Twitter or whatever. It's a bit speculative to be trying to be calling the top of the cycle. I don't play that game. Like, would you have said here that it was like, I'm going back in time, people hate when I say here, but on the 30th of December, when we just rolled over a little bit, if people I called the top back in, here, that's not as simple as that. This can straighten out in a minute. All right. In a day, this can straighten back out. All the volume still to the upside on the MACD. It does look like it's rounding, like with like this, but I don't know. It's not a top for me until something more significant. And a simple weekly retest of the 7. You get a lot of feedback there, Blue. A simple retest of the 7 simple is not enough for me to get concerned about. I'll just quickly check. See, even on the Copic curve, we are rolling, but again, it's the same point over and over again. Daily time frame is where it's very, really interesting for me. I had these channel lines drawn in for for weeks on end, and I remember the last show we did was on a Monday last week. No, it was 2 weeks ago. Sorry, 2 weeks ago when we did the show, I said the price was hanging in there at about 118 or something, and I said, look, I can see us breaking out of this, breaking down from this, but it's shooting back up and getting back inside the channel, just as it did on the 14th of July, and it did exactly that. It broke down, didn't even make it to the 30 simple moving average on the daily, and then bounced back up, back to the mid-range of the channel. Now, on the next attempt, it wasn't able to hold it, and it didn't boot its way back into the channel at all. It was the final breakdown. But the good news is we have been held up absolutely beautifully by the 50 simple moving average as it stands right now. That's a good sign. The issue is that we've only come back to retest the 7. So I'm throwing out all these numbers at you. I should probably explain what I mean briefly, but most of our viewers are pretty learned. They know, especially they know my system. The breakdown to the next line is really an important throwback, just as it was, I don't want to say here, but I can't be bothered with all the dates on the 5th of June. See how it breaks down to the 50 simple moving average and gets a response. Now, I don't know. I think it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. I don't know why these lines is like, and these are my lines, the 7, the 30, the 50, the 200. 200 is the bottom of this range here. I don't know why they're significant, and they might not be significant, but they seem to be significant because everyone's looking at them. Do you know what I mean? Like they just, you want to weigh in on this, Baloo? Like why are they so significant?
Yeah. So, technical analysis in a lot of ways is a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when everybody's looking at the same things, well, they're getting the same information, they're getting the same data, they're looking at the same like bullish patterns or areas of a pullback. When we're pulling back, there's a lot of people that look to the 50 for a bounce. So if people are stacking orders at that 50, well, now that's going to cause a pause in the price. And then that's going to convince people that maybe there's going to be a bounce on the 50. So people start going long. And then lo and behold, the demand outweighs supply at the 50 line because everybody was looking at the 50 line. So it's very common. The 200 and the 50 are very, very common. The reason that I like the 7 and the 30 when you're looking on the daily chart is the 7 represents the weekly average price, which I think eliminates a lot of the noise. Like, what is the average price of Bitcoin for that week? And then the 30 averages out Bitcoin over the month. So what is the average price of Bitcoin over the month? And if the weekly average price is higher than the monthly average price, well, we're in an uptrend and it's healthy. And you can remove a lot of the minutia of the day-to-day moves, because Bitcoin's a volatile asset, and we don't, you can, if you look at it day to day, you're going to be bullish one day, bearish the next, and you're going to give yourself a heart attack. So yeah, I like these moving averages, those two that we have in alphanumerics, but the 50 and the 200 are super common.
Yeah, and I've used these on alphanumerics for 7 years. Like it's been the default setting for alphanumerics, these moving averages for forever. I see people getting great results from the 113 or something. It's like, yeah, I think you're stretching. It might be right. It might be right just the same way. But the fact that these are generic, I like. Now, going back to the point, we had that beautiful come down and touch on the 50. Fantastic. But now we've got a lot of work to do. And it's highly, highly important that we get above the 7 simple and the 30 simple here, particularly the 7 simple. And I'll show you why. This can be, like what Baloo said, people stack buys on the 50. This is how I trade, right? When it's dropping down, I'll put buy orders here at the 50. And then if they get hit, then it's great. I'll have an initial stop loss in below, but I might not even have a stop loss in. I'll just watch it. The position gets hit. And once we start to rally above it, then I'll move like to a break even stop loss. But then when we come up to hit the 7, a lot of people will do the inverse for the short side here. And that's what it'll get stalled out without getting through it. We have to break through the short orders because this is a throwback. Even if we get back to the 30, okay, which is the red line here, that's not safe for me because that was the almost, and by the time it gets there, it'll be the point of the breakout. So if we get through the 7 and come back and get to the 30 here, that's the point of the breakdown. So that's a concern. We need to get way back in above that for me to be really comfortable to the long side here. Otherwise, I can see it going, hup, everyone's excited. No, fade. That's what I can see happening. Rollover. Yeah. And that would be it would be a textbook rollover. Now, finishing off on the 4-hour time frame, once again, alphanumerics kicks in really nicely with a couple of green diamonds inside the green wave, which I was excited about. And this is the beauty of them. They've both worked, right? They're both you're in a good trade right now as it stands. You caught almost the bottom on the second one and a pretty good buy on the first one too. But this, I don't want to see it come back, roll over the same point. Like we have come back up to the same point. Look how all my moving averages all work across all time frames. The 200 and the 30 is the same spot as we needed to get through on the daily. I'll show you how relevant it is. You know, like it's all area stuff, but like let's go here, bang, and then go back to the daily. It's the same area of the 7, right? So this is what we need to get through on the 4-hour time frame. This same block on multiple. We need to get out of this green wave, and we need to get back above. Look, and I said again, the 30 on the daily. Look at that. That way, I said by the time that gets there, that's the 30 on the daily is also the 50 on the 4-hour, right? All these moving averages have become a cluster above us. So once we get back above really the breakout of the channel line and get back inside that zone above 117, I'll be really, really excited. But I have no bias either way. We got the buy inside the wave, which is looking good. I can see it rolling over 100%, see it rolling over anywhere up to 117. Above 117, I'm feeling really, really good about the price again. Coming back to you now in the studio, Baloo. That's all I have for you today. I think that's pretty concise.
Yep.
What do you got for us, mate?
Yeah, so
please like and subscribe. Share it with your friends.
And join the Discord group if you guys haven't already done so. Got a QR code popping up on the screen right now. Oh, no, that's not it. Still learning all the buttons. There you go. So scan the QR code, get into the free Discord. We are sharing our entries, exits, take profits, all of that jazz, as well as the upcoming trading competition. So we actually have a launch date for the trading competition. We'll talk more about that once we get into the altcoins, but that's happening on next show. So definitely get into the group and stay up to date to that. So I have adjusted my parallel channel here. So you were still rocking the sideways, which is great, but I just saw that it was really, we had multiple touch points. We got a touch point on 2 sides of the support line and multiple touch points on the supply line here. So I've tilted mine down a little bit and got really excited when we had the green diamonds and updated the private group. We had the updates here in the Bitcoin chat. I woke up and I was like, oh geez, we got a green diamond here. So I notified everybody of that. And then we added another Bitcoin to the position here. So that's looking good. Everything is a go with that new entry here. I really like that it's showing up on a bullish divergence. So you can see one low here on price with a green diamond, a secondary low on price on the green diamond, and that's divergent with what we're seeing on the RSI. Also a little bit of a divergence here on an indicator that I have put to bed for a while, but it's kind of a good one. So I'm kind of bringing it back for confluence on divergence, the awesome oscillator. So we have higher lows throughout the awesome oscillator, higher lows on the RSI, while lower lows coming in on price. So I am kind of looking at smaller term time frames here, but I have made notes of some higher time frame closes. So I've made a note of the breakdown candle here on the weekly. So we were holding these 2 candles as support. I've put a horizontal line and labeled it weekly. And then I also went to the month. We have the new monthly close, and I went to the monthly close here, which is at a price of 115,000. So 115,000 close on the monthly and 117,000 close on the weekly. And those are kind of the targets for me to get back above. Now, there's a lot of confluence with the alphanumerics indicator with the moving averages that Matt already mentioned, so I'm not going to dive into those, but same sort of thing. I'm optimistic for this consolidation. I'm very optimistic for the green diamonds that we've had and the positions that we've added at those green diamonds, but I'm on high alert for any sort of pattern or any sort of slowing down at a resistance point where we would get that rollover. So the areas that I think are noteworthy, first and foremost, is going to be this monthly level. Until we can clear 115,250, the assumption is lower levels. The assumption is that we're going to at least retest the lows here. So we do need to continue to climb higher. That's also, going to get us above the 200, going to get us above the 30. So it checks a lot of boxes if we can reclaim that monthly close level. And then from there, optimism will really take hold, and I will be quite bullish on the position if price can get back on top of the weekly close price of 117, the prior 2 weeks close rather of 117. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm
Dude, for completely different reasons, we're looking at exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Like the same prices. Those two price targets, 115 to 117. That's what I said.
A lot of confluence in that area. So, but I am on high alert for a rollover because we were in basically a bull flag and we broke down. So you got to be on high alert. You got to be cautious with exits, and the adding to the position was a way to kind of lessen the blow. If I do need to make an exit, we start to roll over there. Well, I've actually made a more graceful exit by adding to those position on that, adding to the position on those green diamonds.
Yeah. Well put.
Let's talk a little bit about altcoins. We'll do a quick little update to the portfolio. Obviously it's down, but I got a comment in the group saying somewhere along the lines of, oh, I guess, in hindsight, those entries were pretty bad. And there's a couple things. Like a lot of the entries that I made, and I know that you did kind of the same approach, is I'm just building a portfolio, and it's spot. And the trade isn't a price-based trade. The trade isn't anything to do with TA. I mean, one of the assets that I bought was Pengu. Like, don't do TA on Pengu. It doesn't work like that. I'm reading the market. I'm reading what I believe to be the capital flows inside of the market and the behavior of the market participants. And my trade is, I think in 3 months, this portfolio will be worth more. And I still stand by that. I think that there's definitely a very plausible opportunity for this portfolio to be looking good by October.
Yeah, and benchmark it too. Like that, the whole thing's a benchmark. Like your portfolio. There's my portfolio here. It's down 7.9%. Okay, but like, what's Bitcoin down? If you click on the Bitcoin, that one there,
3.8.
That one's down. 3.8. Do you know what I mean? So, like, that's not a big deal for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, the point is, like, can we generate? Like, at the moment, we're not. The point is, are we going to get more Bitcoin at the end of like a 3-month period? Not anything else. So at the moment, no, you should have just stayed in Bitcoin. That's always been my theory. If that proves to be true at the end of 3 months, then I'm fine. That's good. I'll just never look at alts again. I'm just like, okay, well, the theory remains, stay in Bitcoin. But if this 3-month period, which I still think it very well could, produces more percentage back to Bitcoin, great.
Yeah.
Win-win.
I agree. Yeah. So Matt's portfolio is down 7.9. Honestly, I'm surprised they're not down more. Mine's a little more degen, but still only 8.8. I figured with the move that we saw in Bitcoin that they would actually be doing worse. And when we take a look at Bitcoin dominance, I can see that dominance is still kind of falling. So we originally wicked up to the middle of the range here of Bitcoin dominance. And that's when we took the positions. We're like, we're expecting that move up, that bounce up. It looks like the middle of the range might be it. And now we've actually gotten some candle body closes up near the middle of the range, and we're coming back down. So if this trend continues and we head down to lower levels in dominance, retest the lows of support, we'll be looking pretty good. Those portfolios will be up 10% at least, I think, if we're back down to these levels. So I'm not too concerned. I'm not going to go through each altcoin individually because I don't see any value in that in today's show. If we start to see things where the structures are breaking out of larger patterns, we'll definitely bring that to you guys when we feel that it's pertinent. So I'm just going to look at this through total 3, which is the total cryptocurrency market cap when you take away Bitcoin and you take away Ethereum. So it's basically all of the altcoins except for the 2 largest. And we're still below all-time highs. When you look at Bitcoin on the larger scale here, we're well past all-time highs. We've broken past these support, we've broken out of the all-time highs, came down and retested it and rallied off of that. So the altcoins are definitely rallying, lagging against Bitcoin. But I think that we're getting close to that point. I wouldn't be surprised if this retest, this is on the weekly time frame, I wouldn't be surprised if this retest of the 7 is a jumping off point for the total 3 market cap, and we can take out these highs and get Bitcoin's move where, you know, the altcoins go from 900 billion to 1.8 trillion, maybe even top out at 2 trillion before a little bit of a correction. So there's still a lot more upside here, upside potential, and a potential for a bounce, in my opinion, here at this 7 simple moving average.
I don't think it makes any. Oh, sorry, it's morning for me. Ooh, I don't think it makes any point, like even looking at the TA on these altcoins, as you said earlier. If Bitcoin recovers from here, that's your TA on your alts, right? Everything we said the first half of the show is what you need to look at, and I think that it'll bleed more if Bitcoin goes down. It's obvious. It's just like follow Bitcoin, you know. But we've given you a handicap here for the competition. We've given you a head start. If you enter the competition today, you're entering with me in an 8% hole and Blue in a 10% hole. You've got a leg up. So get your choices in.
By Wednesday, it's not ready. They're working. There's some back end stuff that, because we want to make sure that there's a leaderboard and that the winner is well accounted for. Blah 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 blah. By the way, if you guys don't know what competition we're talking about, you can enter into a trading competition, trading altcoins with spot or futures. The top ranking performing portfolio based on PNL is going to win 5,000 Tether. That's not vouchers. That's not exchange credits. That's literally 5,000 Tether sent to a wallet or exchange. Cold hard stable coins. The real deal. Sent directly to a wallet.
Put it in your hands. Something tangible.
Something you can stick in a ledger.
Yeah, something you can smell. I'll tell you what. Imagine if it was the other way around and we were starting the competition, we were already 10% up on the thing. So I'm actually quite glad that it's gone the other way.
Well, we might be. The competition doesn't start till Wednesday. A lot can happen in an altcoin space. Listen, if we start ahead, we'll keep track of how much we're ahead, and if you come close to that, then we'll handicap ourselves to make it fair. But yeah,
it's not in the spirit of things. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. It doesn't matter. All good. Well, I'm really excited. It's gonna be great.
Anything to add for total 3, Matt?
No.
All right. Well, let's just wrap things up. If you guys haven't already done so, please head over to blackbox.pro. That is BLKBöX.pro. Sign up for your free Bitcoin trading bot. This grants you access into the free Discord server. There's also the join community tab, and get into the server. Updates will follow. Alpha is always present. And until next time, please trade safe. It is a jungle out there. Peace.